Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well tonight. Hopefully we're live and everyone can see us or at least hear us. I'm excited to be here tonight. Tonight is such a critical and important topic, and it's something that has been on my heart for a while since I took the position here at the Angelman Syndrome Foundation. And that's really how can we support and provide resources for our caregivers. It can be very challenging to be a caregiver. And I know in the last couple of years, it's something that I've really struggled with of understanding and coming up with tools to help me cope in situations. And so, for me, as I was thinking about how or what type of resources or what type of programs we needed to bring to the community, I was very, very blessed to be introduced to Shannon Barlow. So she is with us tonight. Hopefully everyone can see her. I can see you now, Shannon. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We wanted to just come on really quickly tonight to make sure first and foremost that everyone knows about this program. I think that's the biggest thing, Shannon, is spreading the word and getting it out. Although I think since the program started a few months ago, I think you've probably gotten people have taken advantage of it. So I think the resources is being used and being used well. So we're excited about that. So what led to this program is kind of like what I've already said, is that in order for us to be able to be there for our loved one who has Angelman syndrome and for our other kids and for our families and whoever, we really have to take care of ourselves. And typically what happens is we are always the last to we take care of ourselves at the very end. And then what happens is you have a breakdown, right? Things fall apart, and you really just sometimes need some tools and someone to help work through that process. And so the ASF really felt like that putting together a counseling program that was free to the community, that worked with someone amazing like Shannon that understood, would be a resource that we just couldn't say no to. So Shannon, I'm going to stop talking. I would love for you first to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Shannon Barlow. I'm an LCPC in the state of Illinois. We're still, this is pioneering work and doing the teletherapy, but I'm so excited about it because I feel like we get to reach all across the country, hopefully all across the world someday.
Yeah.
And access some families who just don't normally have the caregivers to get out and get services, yet alone the time or the energy.
Yeah.
So just tell you a little bit about myself. I don't have a child with Angelman's, but I have 3 children. One's 11, one's 10, and one's 8. And my 11-year-old was diagnosed last year with, at the very beginning of 2020, with leukemia.
Oh.
So what I do know, the common connection is I know how it feels to just feel like you have no time, no energy, no resources, and you don't know how you can make it through one more day.
Yeah.
But that you've got to carve out a little time for self-care, a little time for making sure you're okay, because, I don't mean to stereotype. I know there's some wonderful dads out there, but a lot of times in my family and experiences, the mom is what, is sometimes, or one of the caregivers is the one that holds the family together and is the glue. And if you break down, the whole system is breaking down. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, having both of those parents involved and healthy, both physically and mentally, is such an important thing. But it's one of those things, once again, we always put ourselves last. And, I have been really hit with this in the last, 2 or 3 weeks, where I've been getting slapped left and right with illnesses. And I think it's my body telling me, like, Amanda, like, you've got to take a break. You've got to concentrate on yourself, and you have to, like, to be better for Jackson, you got to be better for yourself and show up for yourself. And that's just something that has not been ingrained in me. And so I think having someone like you to be able to talk through some of those things and not have to jump through a lot of, I know the great thing is a lot of people have wonderful counseling services in their hometowns. But, the whole point of this program was having someone like you, and then you have talked to probably at this point close to over 50 families. And so you're starting to get an idea of, some of the struggles around mental health that our families are dealing with. And so the things that you're learning, I think, are also going to help you develop your skill and help with, future individuals who take part in these sessions. So I wanted to, we'll talk about the logistics of the program at the end, so we make sure people know about it. But I just wanted to ask you a couple things. If you talked a little bit about this, but can you go a little bit deeper in discussing the importance of mental health for caregivers? Specifically for for individuals who are caregivers and taking care of individuals with Angelman syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, I think mental health is probably the most, it goes lowest on the totem pole, and it's probably the most important factor in a lot of these things. Aspects of mental health that I'm sure that every single parent out there will understand is there's anxiety, there's depression, there's grief, loss, there's job stress, there's marital stress, there's caregiver stress. All of these things tie into mental health. And, sometimes in this crazy world of, caring for our kids, like I said, we put ourselves last, but nobody is there at the end of the day to say like, what have you done for yourself? And I like to just be that person who can step in and say, everybody else wants to talk about Jackson, but, Amanda, I'm here to talk about you because you're important. And I think that can be powerful.
Which I'm sure is pretty hard, because usually when I typically introduce myself or start talking, I'll talk about everyone else. In the family, talk about Jackson, but haven't really honed in and really how I'm feeling or how that has, affected me. I think the one thing a lot of our families struggle with is, once we get that diagnosis, our immediate reaction is to act, right? Like, what do I need to do? I need to get therapies. I need to get Medicaid. I need to make sure that the school system we're in is going to work for Jackson. I need to do A, B, C, all these different things. So you act. And sometimes coping with the diagnosis is not something you do early on. And then, I know for me, I get hit with these moments, right, where it brings me to my knees. The grief brings me to my knees. And if I stayed in that moment and let myself live in that moment for a long time, it would be really hard for me to move on for that. So I think that, being able to talk to someone to even go back and cope with what that news that you got on that diagnosed day, I think for me could unlock a lot of ways to help me cope in those moments as well.
Well, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because there's a great coping skill called compartmentalizing. That's when you, of all that trauma, of all the initial diagnosis, that you pack it away. You say, like, this I can't deal with right now.
Yeah.
But then other things start falling into place. Those emotions start coming out, and you have a choice to stuff them down again, but that can lead to, issues like substance abuse issues, or, other addictions, or other ways to cope. Or you could, take them out in bite-sized pieces and kind of process them as you go. And as hard as it is, that's kind of one of the things that I think is really important.
Yeah.
In the cancer world,
go ahead.
I think I say it's like, we're similar and we're different, because what the important thing in the Angelman's community is that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
So you can't burn yourself out. You've got years and years left to go. And so I think taking that time to say, now is the time to start taking care of myself a little bit is important.
Yeah. Well, and I think that taking that time is only going to benefit us in the long run. I tell myself that every day. Like, if I just do it now, I'll create, practices and routines and skills that are going to help me in the long run. But it's making that step, that intentional step to say, I am going to stop and I'm going to take care of me. I think that's the scary part, because there's work behind that. It's not like you switch on a switch and you're like, okay, I'm better now. Like, I'm running 5 miles a day and waking up and meditating and life is wonderful. Like, I'm not overeating, or I'm not drinking too much wine at night. Like, it's a process, right? And you're already so exhausted. And so I think having this program and having someone like you that can talk through some of those steps, help people through that, is one of the crucial reasons we thought this was really important. And just giving that outlet for people to really, no matter where you're at in life, because we don't have like a cookie cutter look to this. We have we have, you know, both mom and dad raising kids. We have single moms, single dads raising kids. We have all these different, you know, setups that are happening. And I think that there's opportunity for everyone to take advantage of this program. And it doesn't show weakness. It shows like, listen, I'm going to show up for myself now because that's important.
Yeah.
So, I already think I know the answer to this, but you know, we've talked about this a little bit, but how do you feel like you can add value to the Angelman syndrome community?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a person-centered therapist. That means that I meet you where you're at, you know, and we just kind of talk about what would be helpful for you and where can you start, you know, like breaking it down into small steps and doable steps. And sometimes that's, I mean, 5 minutes a day, you know, I think that some parents that's like, ooh, that's hard to carve out 5 minutes a day, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand that and it's true, but you know, just helping, just like I said, focusing on whatever needs are present with the client and just figuring out small attainable steps and ways to decrease anxiety and depression.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm sure you and I could have a session right here for the world to see. I can already tell you're a really good listener, which is really, really good for the program. But so what would you recommend to parents and caregivers who are struggling right now?
I mean, reach out, you know, this is what I love this program because I can honestly say, what do you have to lose? You know,
Yeah.
if you were talking to me and you said after 20 minutes, like, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work, that's okay too,
Yeah.
because you spend 20 minutes, you know, reaching out and the opposite can happen. A lot of people email me at the end of the day and say, wow, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
And, you know, they put in that 1 hour a week and, you know, it just can change your whole perspective and the way you see things.
Yeah. So if you could give just a couple tips, I mean, so how could a caregiver handle stress of having a special needs child or adult? Like maybe a couple of useful tips for them.
Well, one of my biggest spiels that I go into, and everybody kind of knows this, is I love, you know, going down to the root causes of anxiety. And I always say 3 root causes. So if you can start to identify when you're doing these 3 things. The first one is futuristic catastrophizing. When you think of the future and you only think of negative things that can happen.
Yeah.
The trick is then you have to pair one positive with one negative, you know.
Okay.
So that there's more balance. The second one is distorted thoughts, which is like looking in a funhouse mirror. You know, there's a kernel of truth into what you're thinking, but your mind has blown it into this completely warped perception. And so you have to ask the trick for that one is you ask your brain, you know, is there any evidence to support this? And usually the answer is, well, no, not really. Maybe this little one thing. So, you know, then you have to go with the facts. You have to say, if there's no evidence, then I can't spend my evening worried about it. Third one is focusing on what's out of your control and failing to see what's in your control. You know, so you know, the diagnosis itself, the way other people feel or think, you know, everything about that is out of your control. How you choose to react, what you choose to prioritize, what you choose to focus on, you know, and reframing your own thoughts, that's all in your control.
Yeah. So, you know, for those of you that are listening in, you'll have to forgive us tonight. For some reason, I'm not seeing any of the chat functioning. So if you're chatting right now, I think Catherine is on and hopefully answering your questions, but we'll make sure to be able to go back and look at those comments and respond to you. But, you know, the number one reason why Shannon and I wanted to come on tonight is to make sure everyone out there knows that this program exists. All you have to do is reach out to Shannon either by phone or email, and you can find that on our website under Resources and Counseling Program. She will then connect with you and talk to you about a time that works, and then you guys will take it there. Absolutely no cost to you. The ASF and all of the amazing people out there supporting ASF and helping raise money and funds for ASF feel like this is a program that needs sustainability. It's not something that mental health is not going to go away tomorrow, right, Shannon? I'm guessing.
No,
it's not going to go away tomorrow, right? It's one. I'm on the phone. You guys went really quickly. Sorry, I have a kid coming in, but everyone out there knows and understands. Well, you have to come say hi. Okay. Mental health it's one of the number one things plaguing our you know, our country right now, right? And so it's not going to go away, and neither is this program. Sorry, sorry. Neither are my kids right now, apparently, either. So, so make sure that you guys go to the ASF's website, look on the resource page, and reach out to Shannon. Really, you have nothing to lose here except maybe an hour of your time. And I can promise you, you probably won't lose. You'll gain some sort of nugget or treasure from that conversation that you had from Shannon. And Shannon, like, any last just like words of wisdom, words of tips of like hang in there, or anything that you can give to our families?
Well, you know, first, just for my own sake, I just want to apologize to everybody, because the one piece that I'm not good at, it's like a Jenga game with all the time zones. So just I try so hard to have every appointment on time, but inevitably a couple of times I'm like, oh shoot, this was 2 p.m. and it's supposed to be 4 p.m.
I totally get that.
But if my promises, I'll be flexible if you're flexible. And, you know, I just find time for yourself. Find 5 minutes a day. Set small goals, but attainable goals. And, you know, just like when the plane, you know, when you're on a plane, when they say, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your children, you know, you have to realize that this isn't just for you. It's for your children. It's for your spouse. It's for, you know, your loved ones as well.
Absolutely. Well, and also the one thing I failed to mention too is, you know, this isn't just for a caregiver. If you are a sibling to an individual with AS, this service is open to you as well. If you're a grandparent and you are, you know, you need someone to talk to because you are, you know, struggling or want to have a conversation as well, this is open to the AS community. So please make sure that if you see any of our community struggling, make sure you tell them about this program and get it out there. The one thing we don't want to see happen is someone who really, really needs a program not getting access to it. And so thank you, Shannon. I know we only had a few moments with you tonight, and I'm really, once again, really sorry I can't see the comments. One thing that Shannon and I were laughing about before we got on is our tech savvy skills on Facebook are not the best, but that's okay. We're just so glad that you are with us tonight, Shannon, and all the work that you're doing in our community. And I want to tell the community too to stay tuned. We're also going to be doing some webinars coming up on things around mindfulness and meditation and some other just, you know, tips that you can do to help really support yourself and your self-care too. So stay tuned for more. Shannon, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And I want to say bye to the community. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll see you at the next All Things AS with Amanda. Thank you, Shannon. Bye.